Hey humans, welcome to Read to Me, Matt Dunn. I'm Matt Dunn, and I'm going to read to you. I'm going to read The Color Out of Space by H.P. Lovecraft. West of Arkham, the hills rise wild, and there are valleys with deep woods that no axe has ever cut. There are dark, narrow glens where the trees slope fantastically, and where thin brooklets trickle without ever having caught the glint of sunlight. On the gentler slopes there are farms, ancient and rocky, with squat, moss-coated cottages brooding eternally over New England's secrets in lee of great ledges. But these are all vacant now. The wide chimneys crumbling and the shingled sides bulging perilously beneath low gambrel roofs, not roofs, roofs. The old folk have gone away, and foreigners do not like to live there. French Canadians have tried it, Italians have tried it, and the Poles have come and departed. It is not because of anything that can be seen or heard or handled, but because of something that is imagined. The place is not good for the imagination, and does not bring restful dreams at night. It must be this which keeps the foreigners away. For old Amney Pierce has never told them of anything he recalls from the strange days. Ammi, A-M-M-I. Ammi, just one Ammi, whose head has been a little queer for years, is the only one who still remains, or whoever talks of the strange days, and he dares to do this because his house is so near the open fields and the traveled roads around Arkham. There was once a road over the hill and through the valleys that ran straight where the blasted heath is now, but people ceased to use it, and a new road was laid curving far toward the south. Traces of the old one can still be found amidst the weeds of a returning wilderness, and some of them will doubtless linger even when half the hollows are flooded for the new reservoir. Then the dark woods will be cut down, and the blasted heath will slumber far below blue waters whose surface will mirror the sky and ripple in the sun. And the secrets of the strange days will be one with the deep's secrets, and will be one with the deep's secrets, one with the hidden lore of the old ocean and all the mystery of primal earth. When I went into the hills and vales to survey the new reservoir, they told me the place was evil. They told me this is Arkham. And because that is a very old town full of witch legends, I thought the evil must be something which grandams had whispered to children through centuries. The name Blasted Heath seemed to me very odd and theatrical, and I wondered how it had come into the folklore of a Puritan people. Then I saw that dark westward tangle of glens and slopes for myself, and ceased to wonder at anything besides its own elder mystery. It was morning when I saw it, but shadow lurked always there. The trees grew too thickly, and their trunks were too big for any healthy New England wood. There was too much silence in the dim alleys between them, and the floor was too soft with the dank moss and matting of infinite years of decay. Infinite years. In the open spaces, Mostly along the line of old road, there were little hillside farms, sometimes with all the buildings standing, sometimes with only one or two, and sometimes with only lone chimney or fast filling cellar. Golly, man. Weeds and briars reigned, and furtive wild things rustled in the undergrowth. Upon everything was a haze of restlessness and oppression, a touch of the unreal and grotesque, as if some vital element of perspective, or chiaroscuro, I don't know what that word is. Chiaroscuro were awry. I did not wonder that the foreigners would not stay, for this was no reign to sleep in. This was no region to sleep in. It's a region. It was too much like a landscape of Salvator Rosa, too much like some forbidden woodcut in a tale of terror. But even all this was not so bad as the blasted heath. I knew it the moment I came upon it at the bottom of a spacious valley, for no other name could fit such a thing, or any other thing fit such a name. It was as if the poet had coined the phrase from having seen this one particular region. It must, I thought, as I viewed it, be the outcome of a fire. But why had nothing new ever grown over those 5 acres of gray desolation that sprawled open to the sky like a great spot eaten by acid in the woods and fields? It lay largely to the north of the ancient road line, but encroached a little on the other side. I felt an odd reluctance about approaching, and did so at last only because my business took me through and past it. There was no vegetation of any kind on that broad expanse, but only a fine gray dust or ash which no wind seemed ever to blow about. The trees near it were sickly and stunted, and many dead trunks stood or lay rotting at the rim. As I walked hurriedly by, I saw the tumbled bricks and stones of an old chimney and cellar on my right, and the yawning black maw of an abandoned well whose stagnant vapors played strange tricks with the hues of the sunlight. Even the long, dark woodland climb beyond seemed welcome in contrast, and I marveled no more at the frightened whispers of Arkham people. There had been no house or ruin near. Even in the old days, the place must have been lonely and remote, and at twilight, dreading to repass that ominous spot, I walked circuitously back to the town by the curving road on the south. I vaguely wished some clouds would gather for an odd timidity about the deep skyey voids above had crept into my soul. Ooh. In the evening, I asked old people in Arkham about the blasted heath and what was meant by the phrase strange days, which so many evasively muttered. I could not, however, get any good answers except that all the mysteries was much more recent than I had dreamed. It was not a matter of old legendary at all, but more recent, but something within the lifetime of those who spoke. It had happened in the 80s, and a family had disappeared or was killed. Speakers Speakers would not be exact, and because they all told me to pay no attention to the old Ammi Pierce's crazy tales, I sought him out the next morning. Having heard that he lived alone in the ancient tottering cottage where the trees first began to get very thick, it was a fearsomely archaic place and had begun to exude the faint miasmal odor which clings about houses that have stood too long. Only with persistent knocking could I rouse the aged man, and when he shuffled timidly to the door, I could tell he was not glad to see me. He was not so feeble as I expected, but his eyes drooped in a curious way, and his unkempt clothing and white beard made him seem very worn and dismal. Not knowing just how he could best be launched on his tales, I feigned a matter of business, told him of my surveying, and asked vague questions about the district. He was far brighter and more educated than I had been led to think, and before I had grasped quite as much of the subject as any man I had talked with in Arkham. He was not like other rustics I had known in the sections where reservoirs were to be. From there, fucking Christ. From him, there were no protests at the miles of old wood and farmland to be blotted out, though perhaps there would have been had not his home lain outside the bounds of the future fucking lake. Relief was all that he shewed. Relief at the doom of the dark ancient fucking valleys through which he had roamed all his fucking life. They were better underwater now. Better underwater since the strange days, and with which this opening his husky voice sank low, while his body leaned forward and his right fucking forefinger began to point shakily and impressively. Let's fucking continue this to another fucking day. H.P. Lovecraft. The color from fucking space. The color out of space. If you'd like me to read more, please check out some more of my videos. Like, subscribe, and comment down below. Thank you, and come again.